How's it going, everybody? I told you I would make a video of how I do my UV resin coating technique. If you guys use this already, it's awesome, and you know how awesome it is. But if you haven't used this technique, this is how I apply it. Everybody has their own way of doing it, so you don't necessarily have to do it this way. But this is how I do it. So let me show you how I hide my print lines. First thing you're going to need is definitely a UV light. I constructed this booth. I put the aluminum foil to get an extra shine, but really it's not as necessary as I thought it would be, but still looks nice. But that is where I cure everything. You also need alcohol. I use alcohol wipes, 75%, but you can also buy a little spray bottle and put 91% rubbing alcohol in it. The other thing you're going to need is definitely the UV photopolymer resin. I got the Elegoo brand, black, because I use mainly black PLA. So yeah, definitely going to need that. The last thing you'll need is a nice little paintbrush. I don't like foam or anything like this one here. That's for the acrylic paint you see there, but I use just a regular cheap Amazon brush that I got like a 20 pack for like $5. So anyways, the other thing I forgot to mention is definitely want to wear gloves when you're working with UV resin, as well as some sort of face respirator. So as you see, I already started this piece. And as you see, the bottom is nice and smooth. It just needs a nice sanding to get, a nice surface for the paint to adhere to. As you can see, the print lines there are going down. I sanded some of the print artifacts that were on the side to get it ready. So I'm going to try to do this one-handed and show you what I do. But I basically just take a little bit of UV resin and just paint it on. And you want to get it in the print lines, it's a little hard because I'm doing this one-handed, but you can kind of see how it's done. So once you got the first coat on there, now I'm not wearing gloves for this because I'm not going to touch the resin, but you can still see the print lines. I throw it under the cure light for about 5 seconds. That's all you really need. If you're this close to it, it cures in seconds. If it's this far away, it takes about a minute, 30 seconds. And you can actually feel it heat up, or, it gets nice and warm. So usually I take the wipe, the alcohol wipe, and I get the excess off, but not off the first layer. There's no need to do that. So I'm going to paint the second layer on. And you see it's starting to get in there, but you'll still see the grooves. That's okay, because when you sand this later on, it's going to be nice and smooth for paint. So again, zap it under the light. Okay, this time I'm going to wipe the excess. So now you can still see some lines there. That's okay. Now a nice third coat and then sanding. You will not recognize it. And I'll show you on this piece, because this is actually for my Blast Tech 1315 that I'm going to be sending to the GMLs in hopefully a week after I'm finished to get approved. All right, so that's good. So now you can see it's nice smooth. You really don't see the print lines as much anymore. I'm going to put the phone kind of down here and I'm going to sand it. And I'm going to give it a nice little light sand. And I'm going to wipe it down again with the alcohol. And there you go. Sorry. Let me get it. So there you have it. Sorry, it's not as zoomed in. But you can see now when the paint goes on there, if there's any little, divots left over, a 2-to-1 sander primer will fill that. So that right there is 3 coats of UV resin and sanded with 220 grit sandpaper. And you see there's where the print lines are and where the sanded UV resin is.